So welcome everyone to the Co-Creators Convergence Thursday Creator Convos. I'm Noelle Marshall, and I'm going to Costa Rica to celebrate the 10th anniversary of the Co-Creators Convergence with about 20 of my friends. And so one of my friends, Rachelle Broussard, is going to be hosting for the next 3 weeks. Thank you very much, Rachelle. Just tell you a little bit about her. She's a certified spiritual director. She's a Unity licensed teacher, and she is now attending One Spirit and working on her interfaith ministerhood, however that is. So anyway, thank you, Rachelle, for filling in for us. And I'm going to bow out now, and it's over to you, my dear friend.
Oh, thank you so much for such a beautiful introduction. I wasn't expecting that. I'm so honored that Noelle asked me to fill in while they're in Costa Rica celebrating the 10th anniversary of CCC. And I wish I could be there with them, but since I'm not, I get to do this. So we like to always share a little video, especially for those who may not be familiar with what we do at the Co-Creators Convergence. And it will also show you what's coming up this month. Cool. So now you know what's coming up. And this evening we have with us, our main speaker is Bonnie Burd with Quantum Healing Explained. And I'm going to allow Rachelle Gehman. I forgot to find out how to pronounce that.
That's right. Perfect.
Thank you. I want to tell you just a little bit about Rachelle Gehman, who has worked as a psychic medium for over 10 years and still sees clients regularly. As a niece of the world-renowned psychic medium, Reverend Anne Gehman, she was mentored by her aunt at a young age to utilize her gifts naturally. And she's also a keynote speaker and a regular speaker at many events around the US. She speaks and holds workshops on many spiritual topics, including expanding your awareness of universal consciousness, meditation, and how to develop your mediumship naturally. She's author of The Heartfelt Medium, How to Develop Your Mediumship Naturally, and can be found on Amazon and at Barnes & Noble. And tonight she brings her friend, Bonnie Burd, to share with us. And I'm going to allow her to tell you more about Bonnie.
Yeah, thank you so much, Rachelle. I really appreciate that. And what I thought we could do first is really do a centering meditation where we can kind of just open ourselves up to the information that is going to be shared with us today, to make sure that our hearts are open and ready to receive. And then I'd be honored to introduce Bonnie. So with that, let's just take a moment and get centered and just close our eyes and start to breathe and really start to get centered. Allow yourself to just start to breathe and relax. And we're just going to say a wonderful prayer. Father, Mother God, we just come before you and give you thanks for all the wonderful blessings that we receive, both seen and unseen. We are so grateful. We ask for everyone's heart that this touches to open up their hearts and minds to the possibilities of experiencing quantum healing, to allow this to resonate with your soul and allow yourself to experience the many blessings that Bonnie has to share with us today. And with that, I say amen.
Amen.
And if we can just breathe and center ourselves in our heart. Okay, that's wonderful. Well, thank you for allowing me to do a quick centering. And Bonnie, it is my pleasure to introduce my personal friend. I'm so excited. I met Bonnie. We were working at Choices Unlimited, and I walked in, and she was doing some wonderful things with students, and I just saw her heart, and I was really touched by that. So it's my pleasure to introduce Bonnie Burd. She is a certified wellness practitioner through the Southwest Institute of Healing Arts in Tempe, Arizona. She specializes in light language therapy, life coaching. She is a Reiki Master and teacher and holds classes regularly. She does spiritual channeling, hypnotherapy. She holds a meditation circle every Tuesday night. That's really beautiful, and group energy healings as well. She offers one of the key things that I have gone to her for is the Akashic record reads, but more than that, it's a healing that occurs. She also does regression therapy and light language breath therapy, to help clear out any blockages, as well as breath therapy. And she also helps students with Reiki certification classes. But one of the keys that I felt is really important is the flow of energy classes. When we can really determine and learn about our own energy and the flow of life energy, that's really the foundation, in addition to meditation, that is so beautiful. And Bonnie really does a great job of showing that. And she offers classes around that. And she offers mentorship to help develop all your spiritual talents. Bonnie believes everyone is gifted. We just have to find out where your gifts lay. And she works with individuals to do that. And she also has free meditations on YouTube at Ignite Quantum Healing is her channel on YouTube, as well as her Facebook page, which is Ignite Quantum Healing, and then also the global expression of light language. So it is my pleasure to introduce you, Bonnie. Oh my gosh, that was a long introduction, but I'm so glad you're here.
Oh my gosh. Thank you so much. I feel blessed to be here, and I appreciate being invited into this sacred space, and yeah, I'm really excited. So yeah, and I'm excited to be here with you because you're one of my good friends, and it makes it a little easier. Somebody,
yeah, absolutely. So Bonnie, I'll never forget walking into Choices Unlimited, and you were helping students, and there was something where you really made everyone comfortable, and I really feel that that's one of your gifts, that you share, that you really encourage everyone that you work with, and you take the time to figure out where their gifts lay, you know, within them. And I felt very comfortable meeting with you. And so I feel that that is really one of the special things about you. But maybe take us through like some of the things, how this all developed. We're going to talk about the quantum healing, but it kind of evolved over time, right? So like where did you start, and then what was your progression of all these different things, and then what came about? If you could share that with us, that'd be great.
Sure. Well, I was kind of born like that, you know, like I'm really sensitive, and I thought everybody talked to Yahshua. I thought everybody, because he's one of my main guides, I thought everybody could hear him. And I went through I would tell everybody how Yahshua loves you, and whenever somebody was sad, I would always talk to them. You know, I was a little preacher girl when I was little, and I was only like, you know, 4 or 5. And then something happened and I got afraid of my gifts. You know, my brother started telling me, you know, you shouldn't do this or you shouldn't do that. So I got afraid. And so then I would have it just completely flipped. I had nightmares and I wasn't sure, you know, if I was safe anymore. And I think that happens to a lot of children. And so it's really important when somebody is sensitive and they have all these gifts to really pay attention and be careful what you say to them, because, you know, my brother would say stuff like, well, how do you know who you're listening to? You know, how do you know that's Yahshua, you know? And you know, it just, me being that little, it scared me. So I went through a lot. I went through many years of trying to, I wanted to shut it down because I was afraid, because I could see, hear, sense. I had all the gifts. And then finally it did slow down, and it did because, you know, I think that my guys thought it was too much for me. So they just had it stop for a while. And so then it wasn't until I was 18, well, around there, you know, it's teenager years, I started getting really interested in angels, and I started collecting angels. So they kind of eased their way back in. So I started collecting angels, and then, you know, then I started hearing my angels at night. They started visiting me. Yahshua started talking again. And then I was like, this stuff is really cool. I want to know more. And so then I started, you know, taking energy. Well, actually, I wanted to learn about all the stones and stuff, and I took classes on that. And then I went from there to Reiki, and I just loved Reiki. And so then I became a Reiki Master, and around the same time, I took classes to be a wellness practitioner, and I also took hypnotherapy classes. And what I didn't realize is that everything that I was doing, my guides and Yahshua was building on what I'm doing today, because I just was interested in hypnotherapy. I didn't know that was going to be the way. And so everything in that college class that I took, I utilized, because it was coaching. There was spiritual coaching. There was just all kinds of things. It was like a hodgepodge of things that I would utilize in the future. But I thought I was just going through a process of trying to figure out who I was, and I was just guided to that class. And it was like a 2.5 year program. And by the time I finished, I was a different person, because it was more about healing myself. And then, because then you can help others after you've gone through the processes for yourself. And then one night Yahshua said to me, I want you to sit up and write this down. And I was like, who's speaking to me? Because it was audio. It wasn't just, it came in differently. It came in audio. And he said, the one you called Jesus. And I was like, oh. And so I sat up and I was like, oh my gosh. And I'm writing the list. And he had me write down all of the important things for someone who's new awakening. And he asked me to teach the flow classes, flow of life energy classes. And he said, make it simple. Don't make it really confusing, bring it down to the level of, and he even showed me in my third eye for the dummies, the books for the dummies. He was like, just do it like that. Don't get really technical with it. And so I did those classes, and all of those classes just build on what they were teaching. They were teaching me to do bigger and better, more deeper things by doing all this stuff. And then when they finally asked me, after I taught those classes for a while, and the Reiki on top with that, and then they asked me to begin the hypnotherapy with the regressions, and then they showed me how to do working with the quantum healing in that way, to how to help people release. First they showed me how to help them release their family lineage on their mother's side, their father's side. They just went step by step, teaching me how to do the next thing. Then they started showing me how to do soul retrieval, and how to move through the quantum with the breath, and how to help others learn the same way, and to ease them into the Akashic Records, and so that they can, because all of my gifts are mainly about showing them the way, and then I get all the information while they're doing it, but it's all about them finding the way and learning it for themselves. So I might give them a few clues here and there, but they're doing the work, and they're learning how to do it for themselves. And so not all the time, actually, unless someone doesn't want to move forward, after they do a session with me, their guides, their angels will come, and they will continue the work at night. And so they will continue, they'll go through more records, more release, because we learn how to do it when they're in the session. So after that, it's pretty much how it works.
Yeah, and that's really great, Bonnie. And so let's talk a little bit about quantum healing. I think we could talk a whole hour on, the flow of energy. And I know how that was important to me. And I think anyone out there doing a spiritual practice, especially if you're an empath, how to learn how to control your energy. But then the quantum healing, that's what we're really here to talk about. And what you do is extremely unique. So if you could talk a little bit about the quantum field, and then how you started to incorporate healing with Akashic reads, where you go into the Akashic Records. And I can tell you that has been just amazing for me when we have gone in, and if there was something that I couldn't release, it ended up being a past life thing, where we went into the aspect of myself in that lifetime, and we looked at that timeline, we healed that timeline, and we were able to rewrite that timeline. So the healing was then,
Well,
yeah.
how
So if you
how
could
it works
explain-
is, how it works is, it's not really rewriting it. It's just, once you've healed the timeline, it automatically moves to the higher timeline, and it just automatically moves to what, if you never did that, whatever it is, if you've never done that energy. And so it'll move your life and shift it into the higher lifetime if you never made that decision. So what it is like, like if someone came to me and they said, I repeat the same thing over and over again. I don't know why, and I don't understand it. So I would ask, their spirit guides, and we connect them to their higher self first. And then we ask their spirit guides to take us to the energy, where the seed was planted, where that energy first started in their records. And so whatever it is, like if it's like relationship problems or whatever it is, we go to the original seed. And once we get there, we see how it happened. We see everybody involved. And then we do, Yahshua always leads forgiveness. And so we do forgiveness of ourselves for the part that we had in it. And we give forgiveness to the people who had a part in it. And then after we do that, we release all contracts in all directions in time, so that there's no more, this will be completely removed and healed. And so then after that happens, they do a soul retrieval where they send back all the energy that was spent on them, healed and cleansed, and then they bring back all of your energy, healed and cleansed. And so after you do that, it's like when the timeline raises, it's like the roots of a tree. It goes in every direction that energy ever touched in your timeline, in your Akashic records, and it heals that. So when you're doing the healing, you're not only healing yourself, you're healing your children, you're healing you're healing your grandchildren, you're healing all the, the people that are above you that had to suffer with the same thing. So the whole thing is being cleared so that you never have to deal with that again. And that wasn't, when I first began, that wasn't the way it was. It's once we started ascending and getting in the higher energy that it was completely cleared out. When I began, it was just one record at a time, and we had to clear it, forgive it, and it was a lot for a person to go through. And I asked Yasha, well, was there a better way to do it? And that's when he started telling me that to have the intention that it connects like the roots of a tree in all directions in time, clearing the whole field. And so after we started doing it that way, it got so much easier for the client. And we also, the energies has risen so high because of the ascension, it makes it easier for us to do that kind of work.
So then quantum healing, you're incorporating not only Reiki, but Akashic reads, healing. And then we can talk a little bit about the light language, but it's really interesting because when I've experienced like Akashic reads, somebody might tell me what I was in a past life. And it was like, well, okay, that's great, but what do I do with that? And so what I found with you is that this is something that we can do with it. The reason we're going through the remembrance of is that there was an actual event that that now can get cleared out, and we can release that. And so that's what I found, and it's really beautiful. And so there's Reiki, there's Reiki healing, there's Akashic reads, and working with your guides. And the unique thing, Bonnie, that I see with you is that when we go in, and I say we, you're taking us in, and it's a hypnotherapy, it's a non-cognitive experience where the client is closing their eyes, and talk about what happens with you and your gift, because I've been there, and then you see everything that I see. And
What happens with my gifts is that as you tune in, because what Yashua explained to me is that he wants the client to experience and know it for themselves, that it's okay that if I'm getting things and seeing things, but he would like me not to say what it is I'm getting. Let them, ask the appropriate questions until they find what it is, till they tell you what it is you're seeing. And so that way, because a person, if they experience for themselves and they actually, you get them to where they can see it and for themselves, that's truth. It rings true to their heart. And so they realize that this really is happening. They are doing a healing, and they won't wonder later, was it something that they just made up? Because they're actually experiencing it, and they're actually telling you the story. And I will confirm what they're saying, that I'm getting the same thing, because what happens is the more that they connect and they focus, the more I see. So I have to use all my senses to bring in what it is that they're trying to do. And once they start describing where they're at and who they are, and if they're male or female, then the information, like the knowing, starts coming in for me. And then I also can see what they're seeing once they start describing it. But it doesn't come in to me until they start getting it. So I know when they're not getting it, because I'm not getting it. You see what I'm saying?
Oh, yeah, yeah. So they have to really be open to the energy and the flow and allow themselves to really hone in on what they're experiencing. And in the quantum, you're really tapping into the quantum field. So when you get there, when you're taking a person in, you're letting them know that they are safe. Nothing's going to happen to them. You're right there. The angels and guides are with them. And they start to, you ask, how old are you? Are you male or female? What's on your feet? What do your feet or hands look like? That type of thing. And then it starts to build out. And you don't leave them with questions. You're asking open-ended questions so that then they can start to experience it. And so that's the real key. And that I don't know if we can put like can you define quantum healing? Can you, like, because the way that I look at it is a quantum field, and there are multiple things that you're doing to tap into the quantum field to go to where the healing needs to occur. And that can be,
Well, the Akashic Records it is quantum. And so whenever you travel through, you're traveling through quantum, but also whenever you utilize, when you're in the quantum field and you utilize the energy there, it helps with the clearing, and it helps them let everything go because it brings them to a higher frequency. And that frequency will help them release anything that's of lower frequency. And so, and by helping them with their consciousness reach that level, it teaches them how to easily do it. And so after they've done a session with me, they usually can go right back there pretty easy. And and it's the vibrations. That's the reason why I use the light language also, because it's the light language comes through the quantum field, and the vibration, the frequencies of the light language helps them also shift things out. And so it's like you're actually, because everything's happening in the now time, so you're actually in that now time, in that place where it actually occurred originally. And you're cleaning it out right from the root. So it's just amazing how they can show you how to do that, because after you've done it, you can continue to do that yourself. It's a learning thing.
that's amazing. So you were doing this, and then the light language came in, which you incorporated that. And so can you tell us a little bit about that and how that started as well?
Well, I would do meditations, and I would hear it in the background. And then some of my students would say, I hear a different language in the background. And so I knew that I wasn't crazy. I was actually hearing it. And then I had a couple of reads, and they were saying that you should be speaking light language. And I thought, and so then I got really interested. So I started watching it on YouTube and stuff. And as I did that, I noticed that some frequencies my DNA connected to easier than others. So it goes to show, just like a healer, like a Reiki healer, sometimes that you feel drawn to that person. It's the same thing with frequency with the language, because there was some people that I would watch and I would really feel my field light up, and there'd be others that I really didn't connect with. And so that's why I think spirit will send the people to you that you would definitely connect with, that your voice, the keys and codes that you have within your voice would help that person. And so what I do with the light language is I bring through the light language to help you shift it out and release it. And it has keys and codes that your DNA, your body recognizes. And that's another quantum thing. I can't really explain word for word what I'm saying. It's the knowing. Spirit will just give me a few phrases and tell me a little bit about what it means. because it's not, you can't translate it word for word because it is quantum. And so, I use that on top of the hypnosis techniques and utilizing their guides and my guides, and to bring forth the healing and to raise the energy high enough for them to release it and to give them the understanding of how to move forward.
Yeah, can you tell us a little bit more about the keys and codes? I think that's really interesting because and how we receive them, right? If you can go into that a little bit for people and what that means.
Well, we're all born with keys and codes within our DNA. And so there's just, it's almost like a song. Some songs will, move together in harmony and others don't. So it's kind of like when your body hears the light language, it knows immediately what to do. It understands it and knows exactly what it needs to open. Sometimes the light language isn't always about healing. It might be about opening a gift that you have that lays dormant. And so you do the light language, and then there might be a healing that has to occur first to make room for you to bring in the codes and the keys that you need to open it up. But it's just in whatever way. I mean, spirit, your higher self and my higher self and our guides all know what's best for the client, and they will just bring forth whatever it is. Like no session is the same for me. Like we might go in the same way, but it always ends up, it's just amazing and it's a blessing. And I'm always grateful to be a part of it because I just kind of trust my guides and my angels to do exactly what needs to be done for the person that's involved.
Yeah, that's amazing, Bonnie. Yeah, those keys and codes, and people can just get them. Like you have those meditations, for example, out on YouTube that might be for a heart clearing or a chakra clearing or even a nervous system clearing. And there are things that are wonderful that are also keys and codes that they might receive that that, like you said, can open up their gifts. And I know I really encourage all my students to, do healings, because when you release things that get you stuck, it helps more it gets rid of that, so you have more room for your gifts to come in, right? I mean, that's what I've experienced with doing these as well.
Yeah,
So if
absolutely.
so if you are a practitioner, it's really important to continue to self-develop and do these healings so you can so more of your gifts can come in.
Hmm. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, because it seems like the more that you practice and you listen to your guides and you let them show you different ways to help others, your gifts just start to open up. They slowly come in and you don't even realize it's happening until it is just you're doing it. Because like with the light language, at first I would just do toning because I would do that to raise energy when I would meditate. And then all of a sudden an indigenous came through. I mean, it was really, I was like, what was that? And so it kind of shocked me. But then after I did that, it's more about just allowing the energy to flow through your body and not thinking. You're not thinking before you talk. You know how they always teach you to think before you say things? That's the hardest thing to undo. Is to not think before it comes out and trust spirit. Just allow the light language to come out.
Yeah, that's amazing. So Bonnie, can you think of like a session that was really amazing? And and that might explain like all of the quantum, kind of take us through so people could really understand, when they come to you and what they're gonna experience, I guess.
Well, first of all, I have some Akashic record cards, and I'll just kind of, while I'm talking to them a little bit, I'll pull some cards, and it'll kind of point out different energies that they hold within their systems that they need to release. And the cards usually make more sense after the regression. And as we talk, I kind of get an idea. It's like my guides start talking and they start telling me, because sometimes a person might be so held down with trauma that they can't travel in the Akashic Records, or they can't travel through the consciousness. They need a healing. They might need more than one. And so they'll tell me right away, because I can feel, when they start connecting, I feel it. And if they can't connect, I'll know right away that they're not being able to connect. So then we'll do a healing here. But any healing that we do here with the angels and with the guides and everything, those healings will connect to the energy in the records, and it goes the opposite way. You don't always have to go to the seed. If we give the intention that we want it to heal the seed, it'll go back in the other direction. And so that's the amazing thing about it. And then they'll release more density, and they'll be able to hold more light. Then they will be able to hold more codes and keys, and be able, their DNA will start to open up and connect, and they start getting more information, and more awakening occurs, and eventually they'll be able to travel. But sometimes they just have to find that muscle. Like sometimes I'll just take them through a meditation where they just describe to me, if they were to drive up to their house, what does that look like to me, and tell me that, explain everything inside your house, and the pictures and what's on the floor, everything. And once they find that muscle or that energy, then they realize that it's okay, that they can do it, because they're being able to do it. So, there's different ways. It just depends on where the person's at in their awakening. I'll just adjust to wherever they're at.
Yeah, that's really wonderful. And Bonnie, the great thing is, there are practitioners out there. You do everything from the essence of your being, and you're never judgmental or anything. It's really beautiful. If someone has had a trauma and they can't speak about it, or, they really need the healing, the reason I feel so good coming to you is because I trust you with my soul, and I feel like that you create that environment for everyone. So there's no judgment, there's just acceptance and allowing and loving everyone that comes to you. That is so beautiful. And I noticed that right away when I met you, how great that was. The acceptance and the love that you put in front of every student. And I observed that immediately. And I thought that was so beautiful. And so if people are hesitant, I really encourage them, when they go to find a healer, that it's someone that they can really feel comfortable and trust that this person is going to be right there with them and holding their hand, but you can really trust this person. And that certainly comes through when I've been with you.
Ah, that's sweet.
Yeah.
I guess that I've not always been the most comfortable around other people. And I understand, because when I was in school, I would be the one that never spoke until she got home. And so I was really shy. And so I get it when people aren't comfortable. And I want people to realize that they're just as important as anybody else in the room. And that just because they had trauma, it doesn't make them any different than anyone else. And that they have all the gifts inside them. And all they have to do is want to open them and want to heal. And that's all it takes. And the healing begins. And I just, feel like my guides, Yahshua and Mother Mary and the scenes, they make me feel that way. They make me feel at home, and they comfort me when I'm sad. And so I want to be able to hold that same space for other people.
Yeah, there's some questions coming through on the chat. Oh, this is a really good question. What if you don't know? What if you don't know what you need to heal? What if you don't know you need to heal? Or what if you don't know and you just come there maybe for the experience? That's so funny because I can tell you my experience with Bonnie. I'll never forget. And I thought, shadow work, what is that? Remember that, Bonnie?
You always said, I don't think I need to do that.
Yeah,
I would just,
don't think
I would just smile.
And she just kind of patted me on the head. But what if you don't know what you need to heal? I mean, that's a really good question, because there's times where I've come to you and like what I didn't know. And it's interesting how all of that unfolds, right? We're really guided and it kind of pops up. I mean, in the session, because you really don't know. And in fact, the last one that I did, I didn't know. I came to you and that is a really good question, because I didn't know.
Right.
And so it's like, I can't figure this out. And that's exactly when I come to you, when I can't figure it out. There's something that's hurting. I can feel it. I can't clear it. And I don't know what it's from. And that's the perfect time to like go and figure it out. Or maybe they aren't experiencing anything. Maybe they just want to try it for the experience and sees what happens. Right. But
Well, what happens is, if they're looking for a quantum healer, there is something that they need to heal. They just don't, their higher self is probably focusing on sending them, to release something. And even if they don't know what it is, if they just feel like they want to experience a session, their higher self knows them and loves them more than anything else in the world. And they know exactly what they need in order to be successful and to heal and to move forward. And so they will guide the whole session to whatever it is that they need. And so you really don't have to even know what it is. It really.
right.
You might not even think you need to heal anything because you haven't awakened to that point yet. But you always come away different, and your world is different, because after you heal that, your timeline changes to a higher timeline, and things just get a little easier for you.
Yeah, it's really magical.
Mhm.
It really is, isn't it, Bonnie? I
Yeah.
mean, I'm always blown away.
Mhm.
And
Absolutely.
also too, I think it's important after you experience something like this to maybe journal, because it's going to take time to integrate, right? I mean,
Mhm.
what do you recommend after the session?
Well, I always recommend that you keep a journal next to your bed, because I'm reading the question with all the ways.
Oh, I'll read them, Bonnie. Go
Okay.
ahead. You
Okay,
just,
so and I
Yeah.
forgot, I lost my train of thought.
yeah, no. So yeah, what was it?
Go
Well,
ahead and read the next question.
yeah, okay. So with all the wars going on, how do we get off this timeline? Oh, that's a good one.
Oh, that is a good one. So Yahshua always tells me it's where you focus. He says that you should be the observer, to stand in the middle of the storm and be the eye. Don't lend your energies to the lower energies that's happening. just know that, you could send prayers and send love, but know that this is all happening for a reason, because it all has to be
No.
undone in order
Yes.
for us to move forward. And we also know that everybody everybody has contracted to be here, and we're all serving in whatever way that we decided that we were going to serve. And so it's hard to see destruction, and it's hard to see things happen like that, but you just have to hold your light, hold your space, and know that eventually it's all going to be healed. It's just going to take a little time.
Yeah. And doing that, I've been just sending all kinds of love and light. And, if there's anything that I've contributed to that in some way, I ask for forgiveness, and I just send it love. And and going to neutral. And it's really hard because it is the human condition, right? But then there's this whole other aspect, and I think all of us want the timeline to, for us to get off this timeline and to move forward and go to a different timeline. I mean,
Well,
that's
let's talk about how we do that.
yeah.
How do we do that? We start to focus on what we love the most, and what we want to create that's loving and kind for others, and start looking at the world as a beautiful place where people are healed, and that there's no such thing as homeless and people going without and stuff like that. And the more that you focus on the world changing to a higher vibration, the more you put towards what's going to happen in the future. And if you focus on the war, things going on that are in a lower vibration, then you're bringing your attention to that timeline. It's like a magnet. So instead of that, you want to bring your attention to the unity consciousness, to the healed world. And the more that you do that, the more you can create it. And just by taking baby steps and just doing things that make you happy, if it makes your heart happy, then do that. If you want to give to others and help others to heal, then do that, because then that way you're creating this healed world, and you're bringing the energy up higher and holding more space for others to give them time to heal.
Yeah,
so
you're actually uplifting humanity. That's what my guide showed me as well, Bonnie, is that that that's one of the best things that we can possibly do. If we go to fear, and if we go to anger and all these negative lower vibrational feelings, we're actually feeding that. And so we want to make sure that we're focusing because we're working to create a much better world, and doing the best we can to model what we believe as well, by being generous and kind and all of that. Yeah. Also, can you do these sessions through Zoom, or are they in person? And they're, go ahead.
I can do Zoom and I can do in person. So I've helped people all over the world. So yeah, definitely. It's just because you can get into the same healing consciousness. Just like it almost works like with Reiki, and you could send energy when you connect your consciousess, their field to your field. It doesn't matter where you're at.
And I can kind of talk about that too, my experience. So before COVID, I would come over and you would do a session, right? But then when COVID hit, I actually found myself on Zoom with you, and I was actually comfortable in my space where I meditate, and it's high vibrational. And so with that was just awesome, because the energy was just as effective, if not more, because I could feel it, and it was the same results. It was amazing. So yeah, Bonnie is located in Michigan, and I was too at one point, and then I moved to South Carolina. And so they're asking, what classes do you offer? And have you written a book?
Interesting enough, Yasha was always after me to write the book of Flow of Life Energy. And so I am in the process of doing that, but it's not done yet. But and I teach Reiki classes, but it's there are Reiki classes, but I bring you to the level of where you're at. So it doesn't matter if you're a new awakened or if you're somebody who's been practicing for a long time. We bring the class to where you're at. And so and it's lots of fun. And Yashua is always there, and he's always having ideas and things that we're going to learn that day, and it makes it lots of fun. I also see, what else do I do the flow classes too, the energy class.
Yeah, that I just love. And Bonnie, the one thing that you do so well is that you meet that person where they're at, right? That's so key, because we don't want to feel like we have left someone and they're searching, and they might have just started out and they have all this stuff that they're feeling for the first time, and or they've been through a trauma or whatever. And it's just so beautiful how you meet them where they're at. It's not like it's a one size fits all. You really gear it to the person so they have a successful experience. And then you also work with them to figure out exactly what their gifts are, and you encourage that. And
Mhm.
so that's really lovely. Yeah.
Yeah, there was a couple interesting classes that I did. Like, one class was a lady who was blind, and I taught her to be a Reiki master. That was really interesting and lots of fun. And then also we did another person who only had the use of one hand, and we energetically, Yashua said, your hand is healed. I mean, you didn't need the physical other hand. When the one hand went up, the other one goes up. So they taught, I learned a lot from, teaching, in different ways like that. And so, yeah, and even though I teach Reiki once a month, I'll do 1, 2 advanced, and then I'll do animal Reiki, and then I'll do the master. It's never the same, because the students are all different. And when they come in, then it gets adjusted to where they're at. And I start to channel, because I channel as I'm doing the classes. And so it's just always different. It's always cool.
Yeah. Do we want to open this up even more? And what I was thinking, Bonnie, is one of the things that maybe you could do is kind of take us through a meditation, and we can even maybe Victoria and Flo, maybe you guys can come on a little bit, and maybe they can experience like the meditation or a healing or even the light language. That would be wonderful, and how beautiful that is, and see how they feel as far as resonating with that. Should
So
we?
what I'll do is I'll invite all the archangels of light, all the masters of light, to hold space for us. And then I will ask for whoever watches this video or is on now tonight, that whatever that they need, whatever needs to be healed or released, or even if they're ready for a gift to open, that the light language comes through to help whatever's needed for the person or persons. And so
I'm
that's
getting
my
chills.
intention.
Yeah, I'm getting chills already, Bonnie. So that's a good sign.
I can feel Yashua, he's coming close. So
Yeah, yeah.
he makes my heart swell. So, okay, everybody, we want to close our eyes and just relax. And you want to just take a deep breath. And I want you to feel the love of God coming right down from the heart of Mother, Father, God. It's coming down to your crown. And as it hits your crown, every system, every cell is being opened up to the love of God. We're going to take another deep breath. And we're going to breathe that beautiful energy all the way down your body, all the way down past your knees. Take another deep breath. Send it all the way into the heart of Mother Gaia. We ask and intend that this healing be for everyone's highest best and to help place them in their highest timeline that they're ready for. Mother Gaia is going to start with some light language to begin the keys and codes. Utura pakaraya ni ashatra itre shtre imi ikiti imiatra or pikete ishti imiata. Ikira yamayatra itiri emotro otro ushte imiata. Take a deep breath. As it moves all the way up to your earth chakra. And the earth chakra is spinning left and right at the same time. You feel it coming, that energy coming up to the bottoms of your feet. That's the connection to the mother's heart, the connections to the all of the elements, the connection to the animal kingdom, the connections to the all, and also the elementals. So just take another deep breath. Breathing that energy all the way up to your heart. And we're going to sit right in the still point of the heart, feeling that Mother Earth energy and feeling that Mother, Father, God energy right in the middle of the heart. And we ask and intend that the light language comes to help whoever's here, whatever they need, to bring them to their highest energy of vibration. Ikiri amokoto oshuta pekayana yatara ishti imi itidi imu ututu umiyata. Ikia miyatra otro ashata amiyatra. Yashua is saying, lay down the heavy bag that you carry upon your back. Put it down. You no longer have to carry the sadness with you. Whatever it is that's coming into your mind in this very moment, we are now going to release it into the light. Just allow this to release from your body. To ora pekari anate yashatra atra oshte emi itri ishte utu umiata. Ikia miatra ashte amiatra ishte miatra. You just have to say within your heart that you no longer want to carry this worry or this sadness or this fear. Just allow it to roll out of your system. To ora pekaya nayatra shanayamya. Yashua is now bringing down the beautiful violet flame with Saint Germain. It's moving through every system, every cell, all the way down to the ends of your toes, through the blood and the bones, and throughout the nervous system, going down through your organs, releasing all that no longer serves you. Take a deep breath. Let it go, let it go, let it go. Michael is now going to help you release in all directions and time any contracts that's holding you back from your highest timeline. With your permission, you just have to say yes within your heart. Otro orapikari amiatra ishte emiatra atra ishte emi itri imiata. Iki amiatra ashta ami itri ishte miatra. Iti emo oto ushto umiata. Take a deep breath. Let it dissolve. Now we're bringing back all soul energy that we released during the trauma or contracts that we were in, all clear and cleansed. To ora begari yatra ishte imiyata. Take a deep breath. Feeling every system, every cell, beautiful God light turning on within the cells. Now we're going to send that all the energy that belongs to the other people back to them, healed and cleansed. Uturo ora begayana yashatra pikete imiyata. Iti imiyatra otro miyatra. Cut the chains and release the people that no longer serve you. Let them heal and be released to the light. Many things run through your mind. Allow it to be released. You feel and sense the stories of the past It no longer serves you now in this present time. Utri imiyatra oshtra imiyatra okore pikayana. Itia shatraya miyatra okomiyatra. So now we're going to do a final blessing with a beautiful Christed energy coming down. Ikiri amor pikari amiyatra shatraya miyatra. Ikiya miyatra ishti imi itri imiyatra. Rose petals are now being dropped by Yahshua as we are healed, bringing your systems all into the light. Bringing down your energy, grounding yourself back into your body. With the blessings of the light, we are now healed. And so it is.
And so it is. Wasn't that wonderful? God bless you, Bonnie.
Beautiful.
Any comments or questions? We can open it up, or does anyone want to share what they experienced?
How's everybody feeling? You doing all right? Feeling at peace?
It
it's
feels
so
like
funny.
warm milk.
Yeah, just you take deep breaths and sometimes if you open your mouth and release some of that energy, and you kind of just do this and it releases some of it. And ground. Just imagine yourself grounding. There you go. Bring yourself back into your body, right into the center. There you go.
Lovely.
Well, I'll say for me, tingles all over. But
Yeah.
it's so funny when you first said that it would start at the feet. I've always had that experience, whether I was with Brazzo, who was a gazer and has healed people, but it's always come from the feet. You know, I was like, well, maybe I'm supposed to feel it elsewhere or something, but I could, got it into my hands, and I know I got it into my eyes because they just started leaking, just very beautiful, soft,
Oh,
thank you. Very, very peaceful.
you're
Oh
so
yeah. And well, I think that we belong to Mother Earth, right? So maybe it makes sense that it starts there because we belong and we want to make sure we're rooted here,
Mhm.
So yeah,
Yeah.
Victoria, your hand.
Yeah, thank you. There's two things that came up, not just one, with the bag to let down. And the first one that came was the challenge with my son's suicide. And the second one was this eviction that I've been in the last 2 or 3 years that I was mixing up with my son's energy that I was feeling. And I've just come to realize that I was not recognizing my own. I thought it was my own, but it was his. And that has been like a confusing part, thinking it was me. So that is one of the things that I don't know if it's the right time now, and maybe because we're here, but that ability to recognize what is actually me and what am I feeling empathically, intuitively from others, and learning that skill of separating and knowing this is mine, this is theirs. I would have to say I'm at the very beginner, not entry level of that to really recognize the separation. And so I think that was part of those are, I don't want to call them burdens, but those were the two things that came up and caused tears and caused feeling, and it's okay. And so thank you.
You're welcome. That's the biggest thing, is to master your own energy so that you do recognize when it's not you and when it's somebody else. And then here's the thing, once you get into it and you really are grounded in what you're doing and you really understand it, then you start transmuting energy for the collective. So you're always you're always doing that. So I wouldn't call myself beginner stage, because you recognize it, you sense it, and you know it. And so you're far more advanced than you think.
Thank you. I will accept that and consider it true. Because I know I'm not beginner, but it feels like maybe I'm at the beginning stage of whatever is the next thing coming.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thank
We
you.
all are. You're
Yes.
welcome.
You got this, the next one. You got this, the next one.
Mhm. Absolutely. It all builds.
Yeah. And, it's really the one thing, Victoria, that I want to say is that there are a lot of practitioners out there that have not mastered their own energy. And that's why I feel that it's really important. I learned the flow of energy, and I really encourage my students to do that. And they're not students really, but other people to really understand that this is me, that's you. I know what my energy feels like, because all of a sudden you might start feeling insecure about something. But what's happening is you're in front of a person that's feeling insecure, and you take it on like it's yours, and it's not yours. And so understanding the difference between that's what I learned from Bonnie. She taught me that, and I was already in my mediumship.
Well, I
So,
mean, you're always in a learning phase. I mean, it
yeah.
doesn't matter if you're a practitioner or you practice in something else. You're always learning, and you're always learning more about your own energy. But the first question you should always ask yourself is that mine? Is this feeling mine? And if it's not, then you realize it, then you can help transmute it.
If you
Um,
even know to ask the question, because with my 2 years of eviction, it coincided with my son's injury before he passed. I got something in my throat. Excuse me, I'm sorry.
You're all right.
No, this is a very interesting thing that I cannot speak right now.
You're having a throat clearing.
Yes, it's really, but I didn't even know to think of it as not being mine, because I had a logical explanation in my own life. So, but when he passed, it cleared like instantly, almost. It's like, oh, so that's,
You recognize the difference
yes,
in the
yes,
energy felt. Yeah. Yeah, definitely. Because I'm so sensitive to energy, like if you can, like even just my daughter moving to, live somewhere else, the whole house felt different and weird. And it had to kind of change to the energy of the ones that were still here. And,
yeah,
even when when one animal passes or something happens, you're in adjustment stage. People don't realize how important energy is around you, and how you're feeling it, and how you're sensing it, and how you're just like if you just go to a grocery store and you walk by someone who has a lot of sadness, if you've been doing the work and your light's shining, you're going to help that person just by your field touching their field. They get the keys and codes immediately. So sometimes you end up going to the store not because you want to go, but Spirit wants you to go there. And there is somebody that
yes.
needs you to be there. And so it happens all the time.
Oh yeah.
And so it's just so amazing. Once you learn how the quantum field works, how your energy field works, how it affects you, how it affects others, it opens up a brand new, whole different world to you, because it all starts to make sense, Yeah.
Flo, you had a question or you had a comment?
Yeah, I just wanted to say, in 2017, so that's 6 years ago, I renamed myself Flo because my name is Barbara. I don't like Barbara. That's bad. That's like when my mom called me when I was bad. And Barb all of a sudden felt very pokey. And at the time in 2017, everything was flowing for me. So I thought, oh, this is great. I'm going to be Flo. I'm in the flow. And when I'm not in the flow, then it's like my affirmation. But since COVID, I think it's been, I'm very empathic. And so I guess I have taken on a lot. And I don't know how to, I don't know how to change that. I don't know how to change taking on, like, watching the news. I had to stop the other night. It really freaked me out. But I don't know what my question is, but I'm just trying to get back to where I was. I feel like I lost something. I lost confidence in my healing powers, in healing myself and healing others, that I was on a really good trajectory to get things done in healing and a few different modalities and everything. And all of a sudden, it just feels like it's not there anymore. And I'm back to a point where I'm picking up other people's negative energy.
Yeah. Well, there's probably something that you could pinpoint if you did a Akashic read. You could go back to where it started, where it began, what was causing this blockage now, what's making you feel this way. And they'll take you right back to where it began. And then once you understand that and release it and heal it and give forgiveness, then it's gone. And you start moving forward. Your timeline raises and you start moving forward. So, I mean, definitely, you can heal that. You don't have to worry about that.
Okay,
Yeah,
so I guess I need to make an appointment, right?
I'm here. If you want to make an appointment, you can.
The one
Okay.
thing too, Bonnie, I guess I was going to say something to Flo about, I just wanted to share an experience that I had where a woman came up to me in a conference room and she put her hands, she was behind me. It was my manager, and she put her hands on my shoulders. And what happened was, when she did that, and she was whispering in my ear and I couldn't hear a word she was saying. All of a sudden, it was like electric that went through my body, and everything she was feeling, I was feeling, and it was really bad. It was so overwhelming. I got to tell this story, Bonnie. It was so overwhelming that I had to excuse myself from the conference room. And I went outside and I called Bonnie and I said, I'm feeling this. Oh my God, I was just like, and what I had just done was absorbed all her energy. And she said, Rachelle, you have to ground and clear, release that energy, and you always release it with healing. And you send it, you can send it into Mother Earth for healing, or you can have your guides take it away. You just imagine pulling it out and your guides taking it to source. You always send it away with healing. And then you call back your energy, and you do it through the breath. And when I did that, it was a simple technique, but I had to call her because all of a sudden I was like in freak out mode in a business, thing. And I had to do something. And so I immediately called Bonnie, and she says, all right, Rachelle, that's not your energy. So
Definitely not, because the lady wasn't confident and she was nervous and she was just, that's not Rachelle. I said, that's not you.
oh gosh.
The first question you asked, is that mine? And then your body will tell you no.
Yeah. And Flo, you might be carrying someone else's energy. I mean, you have this huge heart, right? That's just amazingly big, and, and everything. And it could be that you're just carrying it, for a family member or someone else. And it, and you can, we care about the people that we love. We can just put it in front of us and ask our guides to heal it with just love and blessings,
Mhm.
and because, like, when I do this healing, like Bonnie said, we're healing our DNA. And so when we heal our DNA, that's in all directions and all time.
Mhm.
So that means,
Quantum.
ancestrally or even forward. So the work that we're doing is helping our children and our grandchildren.
Right, because you're dissolving it before your grandchildren ever get it within their DNA when you do the work.
Exactly.
And then you're helping all your ancestors that went through it, because everything happens at the same time. There's no past, present, and future. It's all happening at the same time. And so your health, when you heal something like that, you're healing all the aspects, everybody that was you that went through that. It's so amazing the ripple effect that it causes, because you're just going through a whole, I mean, it's so big you can't even explain it. That's a lot about quantum. You can't really explain it. You just have to allow it to happen and know that it'll help. No, same with light language. You just have to know that whatever's coming through, it's for everyone's highest best.
Yeah. And I can tell you, Bonnie and I think it was 2017 is when we met, around that time. And I can tell you that the growth that has occurred for her and for me during that time has been quantum. I mean, really. And,
Yeah.
and I think it's for all of us when we've gone through these things and we've had to look at them. And, Bonnie was helping a lot of people, and I saw a lot of people through the Lionsgate, for example, where things were repeating itself or things were being served up again that we hadn't looked at in a very long time, that might have shown up again. And it's like, why is this showing up in my field again? I thought this was healed. And I said that to Bonnie, and
It's all in the way that you react to it,
exactly. And
whether you're healed or not. Because if you react in the same way, you haven't released all the energy. But if you could be the observer and say, this isn't the same, look at it from the observer view, and then see what you can do to heal it instead of knee-jerk reacting to it, then you know that you're on your way to releasing it and healing it for good.
yeah,
Thank you.
it's a beautiful journey, you guys. It really is. With, and with Bonnie, it's with grace and ease. It's really beautiful. And I encourage you guys, if you can't get to a session right away, or it's, you're still thinking about it, she has her YouTube channel, which is the Ignite Quantum Healing. She has some wonderful meditations out there. She's been putting them out there each week. And even the meditation that happens every Tuesday is really beautiful too. So just know that. And you get to work on your gifts too. Because it's not just the meditation, but it's working on intuition. It's working on psychic ability. Anybody that's working on anything, they can come to the group and explore their gifts. It's a very supportive group. Yeah.
And that's on Zoom every
That's on
Tuesday.
Zoom. Yeah.
Yeah.
What time?
You have to message me. It's 6:30 to 8:30 every Tuesday. You just have to message me and
Is that
Eastern or
time?
Central?
Eastern.
Eastern. Yeah,
Okay.
it's just a $5 drop-in fee. Just
Yeah. A $5 donation if you.
Wow, what a gift.
It's wonderful.
Yeah, and I know, Flo, you are a Reiki master. You've had all the Reiki training, so.
Yeah. I've had a lot of trainings. I have a lot of skills, and I don't know they're on pause right now.
You can heal that. You can
Okay.
unpause that.
Let's go
Yeah,
back to
just-
2017 and see what it is and dissolve
I think it
it.
was 2020, right when COVID started. Yeah, I think I know what started it.
Mm.
That's for another time with Bonnie.
Yeah. Yeah, I can't believe how fast the time went for us.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yes.
Oh my goodness, yeah.
Yeah.
Rachelle, are you gonna have any questions or comments? I'll
Personally,
in here. I just don't want to dominate. If you have anything that you want to say.
oh no, I asked the question about how Zoom could be as effective as in
Okay.
person. And I appreciated the way you answered that, Bonnie. We are coming to near the end of our time this evening. So if anyone has a burning question that you haven't gotten in yet, now's the time to do it. And oh, Noelle's got her hand up already.
All right.
So you have a wonderful connection with Yeshua.
Mhm.
And I'm a student of Course in Miracles.
Oh, wow.
And so one thing is that I'd like you to talk about forgiveness, because according to A Course in Miracles, we've got the totally wrong concept of what forgiveness is. And I was just interested if you have any insight on what forgiveness
Well,
is.
forgiveness is just allowing you, deciding that you want to heal. It's not about the person being right or being wrong. You just no longer want to feel the trauma. You no longer want to hold that energy. You no longer want to hold that person captive in your heart. You want to release it and be healed. And so the forgiveness is all about just letting go of that energy of whatever it was. And then being able to forgive yourself, because you're harder on yourself than you are on others. And so for any trauma that, more than likely any trauma that you've ever had, there's something you blame yourself why it happened to you. And so there's always a forgiveness for yourself. And that's the hardest one. And Yahshua always says that if you can't do it, give it to him and he'll transmute it. He'll help you do it. And I've had clients feel huge releases after they handed it to him, because when they hand it to him, they don't realize it, but they're releasing it from their body. They have to do that to hand it to him. So it's just an amazing healing every time that happens. And another thing too is sometimes I'll sense it's a trauma that they can't talk about, that it's really deep and it's within there. It's just too much for them to talk about it. And Yahshua will always say, for me to say, you don't have to tell me what it is. I know the energy is there and we'll work on releasing that. So they don't even have to talk about it. Yahshua already knows what it is. And so there's no reason for them to go through the trauma of describing it and talking about everything that happened, because we already know what it is. I mean, I don't personally know. I have a sense. I might have some idea, but no details. But it's okay, because I don't need that, because we're just going to help you heal it and release it. And that's usually what happens with that kind of a really deep trauma.
You know, Bonnie, to that comment, a lot of times people say forgive. It's like they think it's giving something, they're giving it to someone. And it's not that way at all. It's releasing the energy or the attachment to that thing that you end up getting stuck. And it's about releasing the energy of that and healing.
You're
that
taking your
release.
power back. You're releasing.
Yes.
You're-
Instead of
you're-
becoming victimized, you're empowering yourself now.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And that's why Yahshua always says you don't have to be okay with what they did. You don't have to agree with it. You just have to know that you want to heal. And that's all you need to know. And then be willing to let it go. And all that does is take their energy out of your field, because you keep part of their, whatever the stories are, you're holding that in your heart, and they're in prison within your heart. And so then that's the reason why we do a lot of heart release, or releasing people from your heart. And they're sometimes when someone does a heart release, they will see so many people go by that they just forgotten about something that happened to them when they were a child. Maybe someone said the wrong thing to them, or and they'll come out of trance and they'll go, whoa, I can't believe it. I can't believe those people were in there, because I've forgotten. But yeah, you keep a lot held into your heart.
Yeah, Victoria, you have something to.
Yeah, I'm glad Noelle brought this up, because this word forgiveness, this idea of what we think it is, it has never made any sense to me at all. I don't think that I have the capacity to forgive myself or others in that definition that I think that it is. But to release the hook, to let go of the power that it is having over, I mean, my brain really wants a different word, an appreciation for bringing this challenge so that I can look at it and work at it. So appreciation is a word that I use instead of forgive, but it's not right either. Like there's another word and I just don't know what it might be that might describe it different than forgive or appreciate. Do you have any ideas on what else we might call this concept, this practice?
Your Yahshua says your purification, you're purifying your temple, and you're not allowing anything in that temple that doesn't love your heart the way God does. So in that way, you can allow it to go. So it's not allowing people who don't love you within your temple. And so that's your sacred space, your heart. And that's where you keep all the sadness and things that people's done to you. And so it's purifying your house, purifying your temple, and allowing the things that doesn't serve you to leave your house. Open the doors for them, let them leave. You don't.
As I literally leave this house in a few days, I will take this very much to heart. Purifying my house. Thank you. It makes a little more sense.
Okay, I always throw in one kind of crazy question at the end. So, Bonnie, what does your brother think of you now?
What does my brother think of me now? He doesn't understand me. He's got a
I
lot
have
of
brothers like that.
he doesn't understand me, but he also knows that he told me, because my dad was a preacher, and he told me, whatever it is that our dad had, you got that when you say the prayer, I feel the love of God. And he says, I appreciate that. And so, in a way, he's
That's beautiful.
excited that I'm okay. I guess.
Oh boy.
Well, this has been wonderful. Bonnie, thank you from the bottom of our hearts for sharing.
Well, thank you for having me here.
God bless
So
you.
appreciate it.
Yeah.
This
Thank
has
you.
been so wonderful.
Yeah.
Yes,
bless
it has been
Yeah.
wonderful. And thank you for coming and sharing with us. And I know that a number of us are going to be reaching out to Bonnie. And let me just share a comment real quick. Bonnie says thank you. She's having chills here and there as well, and it's nice. So thank you for what you brought, the gifts, your gifts that you've brought to share with us tonight, and with those who will have the opportunity to watch this later.
Thank you, Raina Shea, for stepping
You're
in.
welcome.
Everyone for being here.
Thank you for having me here.
You're
I
just
appreciate-
delicious. And thank you for bringing
appreciate-
Yahshua into our presence. So beautiful, so heartful.
God
Well,
bless
he's
you.
always in your presence.
Yes. Can't get rid of the guy. We're all connected.
Yeah.
Well, thank you, everyone. Good night, and may peace prevail on earth.
God bless you.